Can you believe that many Western scholars claim that the Scythians, Saka, and other ancient Central Asian nomadic peoples were Persian, Aryan, and spoke an Eastern Iranian language? But do these claims have any real evidence, or are they just a carefully crafted historical myth based on Western colonialism and white supremacy? Today, we expose the lies and uncover the real truth. Scholars who claim that the Scythians were Persian usually rely on 4 so-called pieces of evidence. But do they really hold up? Claim number 1, Herodotus's records. They argue that the Greek historian Herodotus documented Scythian names that resemble Eastern Iranian words. But there's a big problem. Herodotus never even visited Central Asia. His information likely came secondhand from Persian or Greek sources. Think about it this way. In Chinese history books, the names of nomadic tribes like the Xiongnu, Xianbei, and Turks are recorded in Chinese characters. But does that mean these tribes spoke Chinese? Of course not. Claim number 2, Persian inscriptions mentioning the Saka. The Behistun inscription of the Persian Empire mentions the Saka, Sakai. Scholars claim this proves they were part of the Persian world. But this only shows that Persians conquered them and labeled them using Persian words. Imagine this. If a future historian only finds English records and they see that the Mongols were called Mongols in English, would that mean the Mongols spoke English? Absurd. Claim number 3, archaeological artifacts. Some Scythian tombs contain gold artifacts and weapons with Persian-style designs. But does that prove they were Persians? No. These items could have been acquired through trade, looting, or hiring artisans. Example, Chinese silk and bronze items were found in Xiongnu tombs. Does that mean the Xiongnu were Chinese? Of course not. Claim number 4, the Ossetian language. Some scholars say that modern Ossetians, who speak an Eastern Iranian language, are Scythian descendants. So, they argue the Scythians must have spoken Eastern Iranian. But this claim is deeply flawed because language shifts happen throughout history. 1. Latin, Romance languages, 5th to 10th century CE. After the fall of the Roman Empire, Latin gradually evolved into distinct languages like Spanish, French, Italian, Portuguese, and Romanian. Regional dialects and influences from local languages, e.g., Celtic, Germanic, contributed to the divergence. 2. Old English, Middle English, 11th to 15th century CE. The Norman conquest of England, 1066, introduced a massive influx of French vocabulary into English. Grammar simplified, word order became more rigid, and Old Norse influences from Viking settlements also shaped Middle English. 3. Middle English, Modern English, 15th to 18th century CE. The Great Vowel Shift, 1400 to 1700, dramatically changed English pronunciation. The printing press, introduced by William Caxton in 1476, standardized spelling and grammar. 4. Arabic influence on Persian, Turkish, and Spanish, 7th century present. The spread of Islam led to Arabic influencing many languages, especially Persian, Farsi, Turkish, and Spanish, due to Islamic rule in Al-Andalus, 711 to 1492. Many scientific, philosophical, and religious terms in these languages originate from Arabic. 5. Sanskrit, Hindi, Bengali, and other South Asian languages. Sanskrit was the classical language of India, but as it declined in everyday use, it evolved into modern Indo-Aryan languages like Hindi, Bengali, Marathi, and Punjabi. 6. Russian replacing indigenous and local languages in the USSR, 20th century. Soviet policies promoted Russian as the dominant language across the USSR, leading to the decline of many local languages, especially in Central Asia and the Caucasus. 7. Gaelic, English in Ireland and Scotland, 17th-20th century. English gradually replaced Irish Gaelic and Scottish Gaelic due to British rule, economic factors, and education policies. Today, both Gaelic languages are endangered, though efforts are being made to revive them. 8. Native American languages, English and Spanish, 15th century present. Colonization led to the decline of many indigenous languages in North and South America, with English, Spanish, and Portuguese becoming dominant. Some Native American languages, e.g., Quechua, Nahuatl, Navajo, still survive but face challenges. 9. Mandarin replacing other Chinese dialects, 20th century present. The Chinese government promoted Mandarin as the national language, leading to a decline in regional languages like Cantonese, Shanghainese, and Hakka in many areas. Urbanization and media reinforced Mandarin's dominance. The Huns migrated eastward and later spoke Mongolic languages. The Hungarians, Magyars, are descended from Turkic nomads, but today they speak a Uralic language. Just because a modern group speaks a language doesn't mean their ancient ancestors did. Since all of these so-called evidence points are full of flaws, let's use logic to examine what the real truth might be. 1. Foreign recorded names are not the actual language of a people. The Scythians and Saka left no written records of their own. Everything we know about them comes from Persian, Greek, or Chinese sources, meaning their real language and identity remain unknown. 2. Archaeological finds is not equal to proof of ethnicity or language. Finding Persian-style gold ornaments doesn't mean the people were Persian. Trade, tribute, and war explain how cultural items spread. Example, today, most Central Asians use Chinese-made smartphones. Does that make them Chinese? Obviously not. 3. If Scythians were Persian, why didn't the Turks face resistance when they migrated west? When Mongols invaded Central Asia, they caused massive destruction because of major cultural and linguistic differences. But when the Turks migrated west, they didn't face the same violent resistance. Why? Because they shared similar cultural, social, and linguistic traits with the local nomadic populations. So, who were the Scythians and Saka? What language did they really speak? Here are the compelling reasons why they were most likely Turkic or Xiongnu speaking. Central Asia has always been dominated by Turkic nomads, from the Xiongnu to the Gökturks. The Turkic migration westward didn't cause major cultural conflicts, suggesting linguistic and cultural continuity. Many Turkic tribal names, such as Cumans, Kipchaks, Khazars, and Oghuz, have similarities to Scythian Saka tribal names. Most importantly, the Scythians originated from the Altai Mountains, which further proves their close connection to the Turkic peoples rather than the Persians or Eastern Iranian speaking groups. The Altai region has long been recognized as the cradle of nomadic cultures, giving rise to Turkic, Mongolic, and Xiongnu peoples. The Scythians expanded westward from this area into the Central Asian and Eastern European steppes, and their way of life, military organization, and cultural traits closely resembled those of later Turkic peoples. Western scholars ignore this geographic and cultural continuity, deliberately fabricating a link between the Scythians and Persians to whiten early Central Asian civilizations and undermine the historical significance of the Turkic peoples. So, why does Western academia insist that the Scythians were Persian and spoke an Eastern Iranian language? This is not just an academic debate. It is an ideological war driven by white supremacy, Aryanism, and European colonialism. Their real motives are as follows. 1. To promote the myth of white racial superiority. By fabricating history, they attempt to associate all the powerful and glorious ancient civilizations with white people, concealing the true ethnic identities of these peoples. 2. To undermine the historical status of the Turkic peoples. By erasing the influence of the Turkic world from history, they reinforce Eurocentric historical narratives. 3. To attack Pan-Turkism. By creating false histories, they deny the deep historical roots of Turkic peoples in Central Asia, portraying them as invaders rather than indigenous inhabitants. 4. To fuel their hatred of the Ottoman Empire. They refuse to acknowledge the historical strength of Turkic peoples, deliberately distorting history to whiten the earliest nomadic civilizations of Central Asia. But the truth is clear. Turkic peoples have always been the true masters of Central Asia. The Scythians and Saka were far more likely to have been Turkic or Xiongnu-speaking peoples rather than Persians, Aryans, or Eastern Iranian-speaking people. Real history always aligns with geographical and cultural continuity. Only fabricated lies are filled with glaring inconsistencies and illogical assumptions that collapse under scrutiny. Those who uphold Western chauvinism, white supremacy, and Aryanism, or those Western historians who have been subconsciously influenced by these ideologies, have fabricated evidence and forced baseless connections between the Scythians, Saka, and other powerful ancient Central Asian nomadic peoples with Aryans, Persians, or Eastern Iranian-speaking groups. This is just as shameless, ignorant, and deceitful as certain Chinese nationalists falsely claiming Genghis Khan was part of the Chinese nation. Don't be deceived by the West's historical lies. Follow us to uncover the real truth and defend the glorious history of the Turkic world.